Those wonderful, delicious smells from the kitchen worked their way down the halls, around the corners, up the stairs, down the stairs, under all the cracks in the doors, till finally, up in the attic, they found little Timmy asleep on a pile of old rags in the corner. And these wonderful smells curled themselves around him like a soft hand and began to fill his dreams. Suddenly his eyes popped open, and he realized the day was here. Thanksgiving, the day that he had thought about for weeks. You see, Timmy had never had a Thanksgiving in a house with a big meal like other people had. See, Timmy was an orphan. His entire family had been wiped out when he was just a little fellow. And somehow, in some way, he, on his own, had stayed alive. Oh, it had been hard. He'd eaten out of trash cans. He'd slept in all the most unimaginable places. Dumpsters, under cars, any place to get out of the weather. And occasionally he would find a house that he could sneak into, and quite often, for weeks on end, he would be able to hide himself from the occupants of the house and come out at night and search for food. And if he found any in the home, then he would eat it. And if not, then he would leave and he would go and search the trash for something to eat. It hadn't been an easy life for Timmy, but he was a happy little fellow. And today was Thanksgiving. He had heard about it, and he was ready for it. He followed the smells down the stairs from the attic to the second floor of the house, very cautiously, keeping an eye open that none of the occupants would see him. But see, Timmy had found this large old home with many rooms that had not been opened for years. See, the man and his wife who lived there were an older couple, and all their children were grown and gone. And not having the heart to leave their home, they just used the parts they needed and left the rest alone. Timmy had been there for a few months and never even come close to being discovered. Today, though, there were many more people in the house. There was the laughter of children, the scurrying of feet. There was a family reunion this Thanksgiving. All of the children and grandchildren and even great-grandchildren were there. And as Timmy very cautiously made his way down the hall and peeked around the corner, he saw the most amazing sight. Why, that grand old oak table had been extended out to unbelievable length, and chairs stacked all around it, and loaded with every kind of wonderful food that you could imagine. Oh, it was piled high. And the clanks of spoons and forks and knives greeted his ears as he watched the family eat. Some of these things he had never even seen or heard of before. Timmy's mouth began to water as the smell of that food came to him, and he could almost taste it. But they were having such a good time eating, and eating so much that little Timmy began to be worried. Would there be any left for him? Would this Thanksgiving be what he had dreamed it would be? Then his worries came to an end as one of the young children lifted a fork to his mouth, and a big, plump cranberry rolled off, bounced off the child's leg, and rolled unnoticed underneath the china cabinet. Timmy's eyes never left that plump, juicy red cranberry. And he licked his lips and slowly made his way back to his hiding place. For he knew now, he knew Thanksgiving would be all that he ever dreamed it would. There would be plenty for all, plenty for everyone on Thanksgiving. Even if your name was Timmy, and even if you were a mouse.